Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing today? It's Saturday, so that means it's time for the Kratom Gals. This is your weekly dose of real talk, real stories, and relentless advocacy. Each week, we dig into Kratom headlines because there's so many of them, and we react to videos because sadly, there's just so much negative information all over the internet, and we question the narratives being pushed, especially when they don't line up with the facts. We're here to put a spotlight on the facts when it comes to Kratom. This is not about hype or fear. It's about looking at what's actually being said, who's saying it, and what the evidence really shows. I'm Madeline Sklar. I host this live stream series, the Kratom Gals. We've been doing this for over 2 years now. In addition, I also host the Kratom Stories podcast, and we've got our Kratom Real Talk community over on School. Definitely recommend coming over to School because, as a lot of people in our community are seeing, censorship is at an all-time high, and Facebook is just crazy right now. And a lot of people are frustrated. They can't connect with people in the Facebook groups over there. More of people in the Kratom community are moving their Facebook groups to School, which I've been yelling from the rooftops for 2 years, trying to get everybody to do this with me. So be sure to go over to our School at kratomrealtalk.com, but also go to school.com, SKOOL.com, and go in the search and search Kratom. And you're going to see there are other groups now. And that's so important. I've been a daily consumer of Kratom for almost 7 years. My 7-year anniversary is coming up really soon. It's been an amazing thing for me to help with my chronic pain issues. And that's why I'm constantly talking about this plant and letting everybody know that there's something that might help you. It certainly helps me, so I'm not going to be quiet about it. Another thing I want to mention is we do have a weekly newsletter, so be sure to go over to our website, kratomstoriespodcast.com. You can easily sign up for our newsletter and stay in the know with everything going on with Kratom, with education, with advocacy, all the stuff you need to be aware of. There's so many like ban bills and stuff. We're going to be talking about that in a few minutes here. And it's just a great way to just know what's happening. And just a quick note before we begin, this live stream is for educational purposes only. We're not here to give out medical advice. We're just sharing our personal experience and advocating for responsible Kratom use. All the views expressed here are our own. And now let's bring up the Kratom Gals who are with us today. Hello, Gals, Venus, Twinkle, and Robin. Robin's back again with us. Good to see y'all.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
How is everybody today? Seems like we just did this. Seems like it was just Saturday, and now here Saturday is back again. So it's good to see y'all. And Twinkle, we missed you last week.
I missed you very much so, and I caught somebody's cooties. Probably trying to be out and about, but I'm glad to be back. And so, little cold medicine, and I'm here.
Well, we're glad you're back. It was so great having Robin with us last week.
I know.
Keeping us all informed.
Amazing. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great because we just all feel so much smarter now knowing everything that's going on in the advocacy. There's so much to keep up with. Robin, I don't know how you all stay on top of all of this. There's so many ban bills and hearings going on right now all across the U.S. For people that don't know who you are, can you tell everyone about you, who you are, what you do?
I started Kratom Advocacy back in 2014. Along with Angela Ross, Lois Gilpin, Susan Ash, a lot of what are now referred to as the OGs. And we had to step back a little bit from the public eye. Doesn't mean we've stopped advocating. And last year, we were finally able to launch the Botanical Advocacy and Education Organization. One of the things that stands us apart is we advocate for all botanical plants. Of course, natural pure leaf Kratom is at the forefront of that because of the attack it's under, but we fight for all of them. And how do we keep track? People like Venus, Twinkle, you, Madeline, so many others that say, oh, by the way, did you hear? Because one of the greatest things an advocate can do is keep track of your own backyard. Because all of the software in the world cannot always track this stuff down. So by watching your news articles, watching your city and county council meetings, you can find out when things are being talked about. And that way we can start listing them, because something we did that we're really proud of is we are listing every single Kratom activity, whether it's a ban, a KCPA, a modified KCPA, or them just talking about it. We're trying to list it all on our website. And right now there are 37 states with activity, and there's well over 130 locations. California makes up a big chunk of those. So does Massachusetts, Missouri. There's so many states, and it's
I'm showing it on the
constant.
screen right now so everybody can
Yeah.
see, because you'll have the most comprehensive web page on your site, which I'm showing right now, listing, and y'all keep it up to date, like pretty much daily, right? Or just about
Yes.
every day?
We try to do it daily. It takes a lot, because we can use AI, but even AI, as Venus and I discovered a couple of weeks ago with Spokane, it can give the wrong information, thinking it's doing what you want it to do. So even when we get information from Chat or Grok or Gemini, we still have to go in and verify it. And that can take 20 minutes. It can take 2 days, depending on how they write their language. Because
And
they don't want to
even
make
how
it
they
easy
put
for
their
us.
links, because sometimes you can click on a link and it'll take you, and you'll have the information one day, and another day it won't be there,
Right.
or it won't be there the day before, and then will be the next day.
Right.
And people can
They-
sign up for this real quick. I have the link on the screen. Sign up, go to their volunteer page. I'm showing it right now. Sign up to volunteer so you can help. We need all the help we can get, and BAE is doing a fantastic job. You can see right here, sign up.
Right.
Get
I mean,
get involved.
statistics say there's between 16 and 24 million Kratom consumers. And yet we see the same few hundred doing the activity, doing the work. We have to get the word out better than it has been so far. And that's through no one's fault. I think a lot of it is people just don't know how, or aren't comfortable sharing. And
Yeah.
that's something we can help with. We have advocates who will gladly take the time to walk you through the processes.
I love that y'all are there to help, and I think that's so important what you all are doing, because when I first started using Kratom in 2019, I didn't know anything about advocacy. I just wanted to help spread the word about this plant because it changed my life. I mean, going from 9 years in pain management, getting some relief with meds, but not anything like I do with Kratom. With Kratom, my pain relief is so much better, and it's natural. I'm using a plant, and it's like, people need to know about this, because I was shocked. I spent 9 years in pain management and never heard of Kratom, and I was so mad when I found Kratom, and it was because I lost access to the meds because doctors don't want to prescribe. All of that started the same time that Kratom was, they were going after Kratom, 2016. That was a bad year for anybody living with pain, because they were trying to take Kratom away, and they were trying to take our opiates away. And I got caught up in all of that with the whole opiate thing. I was never addicted to them. I never had any problems, but a lot of us lost access through no fault of our own. And here I find Kratom, and I'm like, wait a minute, this works way better for me. I can do more in my life because of it. Why have I never heard of this? So I joined the American Kratom Association. I found it through a Google search, but I never really understood how to actually advocate. There was not any hands-on, like, here's how you do this. It was just, and that's something I always felt was missing. And I know this was after you and others who helped start the AKA were already kind of like not part of it, is my understanding, I believe. But I always felt like if there was more, that's why I love with you and your group with BAE, y'all are all about, we're here to help you. We are hands-on. We will teach you whatever you need to learn. We will get on the calls with you. We'll help you write your emails. I wish I had that kind of help early on. I had to just kind of figure it out over the years,
Mhm.
you know, and I'm
Well,
glad I
and
figured it out, but I'm sure plenty of people would like y'all's help.
yeah, and part of the thing is we couldn't be doing what we're doing again now without people like you guys that have kept carrying the torch publicly, professionally, doing what you can do. So we owe you a debt of gratitude as well, all of you.
Well, we're all in this together. I think all
Yes.
of us are just so happy to be
you.
helping each other. There's,
Yes,
you know,
yeah.
we're not, nobody's trying to compete with one another. It's like we're all in this together. Let's all
Mhm.
help each other and take action. Because at the end of the
Yeah.
day,
Well,
that's all that
and
matters.
there's an old expression we used to use, and we still do now. We stand together or we fall apart.
Yeah.
And we have to be willing to work together with everyone. We have to be inclusive and we have to be vocal. We have to somehow conquer our fears. You know, I'm doing it myself right now. I despise cameras. There are people that have known me for 15 years, have never seen my face because I despise cameras. But yet I'm willing to do it because the plant is that important.
That's very powerful,
Yeah.
Robin. That's
Mhm.
Yeah.
extremely powerful.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'm working on that's going to be coming out soon, and this is just for my regular business work, it's not specifically for the Kratom community, but I know in the Kratom community this is really needed, and I've gotten plenty of feedback that it is, but I also get feedback this is needed all across the board, is that people want to get more comfortable being on camera so that they could, you know, do more. And in our Kratom community, there are a lot of everyday consumers like we all are. I mean, we're just your everyday Kratom consumer, but there's so many people that are like, I want to get comfortable on camera. I want to start doing videos. I want to start telling my story more, but they just need that little, that I don't know, I don't want to say
That
push.
that kick.
Yeah, oomph is a good word. They need a little oomph. And so what I'm going to be doing is very soon is hosting a 5-day video challenge to help. And this is like, again, it's not just for Kratom advocates, consumer advocates, but it's something I used to teach years ago. And I want to go back to teaching that again. And so many people in our community are like, I'm interested. I'm going to sign up for that because I want to start making videos. So kudos to you for just, you know, like, I'm going to just start doing it. And look at you now.
Yeah. Look at her.
Something else
Yeah.
I absolutely love seeing is so much of the talk when it comes to the ban activities is it's a bunch of druggies. It's a bunch of people that are addicted. And yet look at the median age of the people on this call right now.
That's right.
Right.
Mhm.
We're not a bunch of druggies. We're not a bunch of addicts. There may be addicts among us, but they're choosing to make a difference in their life and come clean using the benefits of Kratom. And that needs to be screamed out as well. I'm 65 years old. I'm a great grandmother
Mhm.
and I consume Kratom. You betcha I do.
Yeah.
And that's so powerful. And I know people
Mhm.
think I'm young because I look young. I'm 61 years old. I'm a
Right.
Kratom consumer, and I am not a drug addict. I'm somebody that doesn't want to suffer in pain, and there's nothing wrong with
Exactly.
that. And I'm not going to ever let anybody try to make me feel bad about that. I already went through the stigma back when I took opiates for my chronic pain, when I took Oxycontin and Percocet that I didn't talk about because of what people think of that.
Exactly.
Right. And I don't
Yep.
want to short out the younger people among us because they are us 20 years ago, 30 years
Right.
ago, 40 years ago.
Right.
And I'm so
But
excited that they found it younger, to be honest.
oh, I
wish-
know.
yeah.
That to me shows how beneficial this plant really is. The fact that we are continuing with younger generations who are often much more conscious of what they put into their bodies.
Yes.
and how they treat themselves. That
Mhm.
there again tells you Kratom is a safe, natural botanical that helps people with anxiety, with depression, with pain, with so many things. Quit demonizing us.
Well said. I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
really
Oh, I could
thought
be on
just
my soapbox all day.
I really thought seeing us come up and seeing us testify in the hearings, what we do online, what we do in front of the cameras and in their faces would make a difference to the way they thought. But I think sometimes it does, but sometimes they're not thinking, they're not putting that together. Like they're drinking this tea and this is what they're accomplishing. You know, they
Mhm.
don't think of it.
And some of the people get, some of the politicians get so wrapped up in their own thought processes, they don't care to see another viewpoint. They're
Mm-mm.
going to do what they
Yeah.
think they should do, period. And that's when we have to really stand up and say, no, it doesn't come that easy. If you continue down this path, I'm a voter. I'm a constituent. I will replace you
That's right.
because it has to be for all, not just for the few.
Well said.
Yep,
Well, I definitely
I
encourage
agree.
those watching to go sign up, go to botanicalae.org. That's Robin's organization. And yeah, definitely recommend getting involved because we all got to work together to help keep Kratom safe and legal. I want to mention, we have a lot to watch today. I want to mention, I do have a weekly newsletter if you have not joined, and I'm hosting it over on Substack now, but it's so easy to go through this too and see like our past newsletters, the way it's all organized on here. But if you want to like stay informed of what's going on with the Kratom Gals, the Kratom Stories podcast, and just information, latest Kratom news, advocacy, getting involved, all that stuff, this is a great place to go to stay informed. So be sure to go to two ways to get to this. You can go to kratomstoriespodcast.com/newsletter, or just go to Substack and type in Kratom Real Talk. So, and yeah, Melly Mel just joined. I just saw she was in there. She just joined and Mel, I followed you back. Just letting you know I did. So Substack is really cool because you can follow our newsletter there, but it's also a social media feed, and I'm not seeing any censorship there. So we can, so far, been
Me
able
either.
to freely talk about Kratom, and it's always refreshing when we can have a place like our school community where we can talk about this plant.
I did notice a comment come across because I'm on my phone, so I can't see
Sure.
them as they happen. But
Yeah, which
somebody
one?
said they hope that we're also helping to fight with the hemp issue.
Yes, I saw
Please
that.
reach out to us because we need your help to do that.
Yeah.
Because hemp is another target out there,
Mm-hmm.
and it shouldn't be.
And kava and
Kava,
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Shilajit, Aquama, you name it, they're all going to be targeted if they
there's-
haven't already.
Yep.
There's a lot of them for sure. And join us at our Kratom Real Talk community. If you haven't been there, just go to kratomrealtalk.com. It's over on the school platform. And like I was saying in my intro, I'm finally seeing the shift. More people with their Facebook groups are moving over to school. There's, we got Christopher from Christopher Organic Botanicals. He's had one on there for a while. We've had our Kratom Real Talk for over 2 years now. We've been on there. And there's some newer ones that have just joined. But you can see we just have lots and lots of conversations in there. There's no censorship. And it's incredibly helpful. We got a whole classroom section. We got the calendar where you can just see all of our different activities. Like right now, we're doing the Kratom Gals. You're here live with us. And then on Sundays, we do our Kratom Real Talk support group, which is private inside a school. It's not public. So you got to be a member of our Kratom Real Talk, and it's free to join. So just go to kratomrealtalk.com or go to school and go to school.com, SKOOL, school.com/Kratom Real Talk. We'd love to see you in there. We just, we're always having lots to talk about, and it's so nice. It's so nice we have a place.
And I
considering-
apologize for me moving around so much. I have
Oh,
2
you're fine.
dogs I'm trying to herd.
You are absolutely, this is a casual live stream. It's not fancy. We're not fancy here. So you are all good. I want to get into the videos because we do have quite a bit to look at and discuss. And also a little later, Becca will be here. She always comes during the second hour, so she'll be here with us. Robin's going to stay with us for the whole couple of hours-ish, however long we go. So Utah has really been under attack. And so my understanding, and Robin, I'm so glad you're here because like sometimes we talk about this stuff and like, I think this just happened. I mean, there's so many things to keep up with, but I think you're probably the most in the know. So my understanding with Utah, it passed the Senate and now it's going to the House. So which means it's, a lot of people I've noticed get confused about the process. I was confused for the longest time. I finally have it all I understand it now. And we talked about it a bit last week because you were telling us about how there's typically a bill that's on the Senate side and one on the House side, but sometimes there's one bill and it goes from one to the other. And they're not, because like in Texas where I live last year, it was just the one and it got through the Senate. But it's a process, went through a couple of committee hearings, then it passed that, then it goes to the Senate floor, it passed that, then it went to the House to a committee and it died in the committee. It didn't go further, but had it gone further, it would have to pass a committee, which can take a while. Then it has to go to the House floor. And if it passes that, then it's like, okay, now it goes to the governor and the governor decides. And so I think sometimes people will see us talking about these ban bills and go, like with Utah's a great example. Well, the Senate, it passed the Senate. And then people automatically assume, oh my God, it's banned here. When does it go to effect? It's like, well, hold on. It's a process. Do you want to explain that a little bit for anybody that's new watching that doesn't really understand how that works?
I will explain it to the best of my ability because there's parts of this that still trip me up after all these years. When a bill is introduced, it goes to a committee. Could be one of, I think there's 30 or 40 different committees it can go to. Once it passes, and it can also start in a subcommittee. Once it passes that, it advances to committee. If it passes committee, then it goes to the floor for a vote, be it House or Senate. The best bet, the strongest fight we have is to stop it in subcommittee or committee. Because if we can get them to table it, then we have the opportunity to put our point across even more and even better. Once it makes it to the floor for a vote, then it has to cross the aisle. If it starts in the Senate, it has to cross to House, and it has to go through that same process. If it started with a subcommittee, it has to go to a subcommittee, House, committee, floor vote, then to the governor. It can still be stopped at any point along the way, including when it reaches the governor's desk.
And that's so good to know.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and that's when emails, phone calls, and I will stress one thing we were always taught, and that seems to be changing some now, but I'm not sure of. It's always better if you are in that city, in that county, in that state. Barring that, if you can at least demonstrate familial or financial interest in those areas. Because otherwise, they don't listen to you. And they just go, yeah. And if they sweep by your testimony, they may accidentally sweep by 5 or 6 others. So always try and make sure that you put your best foot forward, because one chance to make the first impression. And make sure that you're demonstrating to them you have a reason to be speaking on this. Now, I vacation in California. I go to Disneyland 3 times a year. I can't go anymore. I'll go to Florida instead. Anything like that that you can truly demonstrate you have a benefit to the area trying to ban is beneficial.
Well, a great example of that is Amanda Rayner, who's one of the big super advocates, and she'll
Yes.
get on the different Zoom calls and say, I have family that lives there. I can't go visit them now if this passes, or my friends are there and I go visit them now. Won't be like it's such a smart idea, and I never thought of that angle till I started hearing her doing it, and now you're talking about it. And that's one of the benefits of us all working together and learning from each other and joining your organization to get more involved, because we got to arm ourselves with all this knowledge.
Yes. And there is so much knowledge out here if we just share it together. We are truly unstoppable. We proved that in 2016. We did what no one anywhere has ever been able to do in the United States, and that's stop the DEA and FDA in their tracks. We stopped them. Nobody else has done that. That's something to be very proud of. But now we have to get that back.
Yes.
Because too many people went, okay, the fight's over. No, the fight is just beginning. Because no matter what now happens at a federal level, these states have realized we can do it locally. We can do it on a state level. We don't have to wait for the feds to step in. So we have to gather advocates. We have to gather that army again.
And my understanding with LA County that just happened a few days ago, or yesterday, I think it was.
LA City.
Which is huge.
LA City.
So when LA County yesterday? It was LA.
LA City was yesterday. LA County was earlier this week. Right, Venus? Correct me if I'm wrong.
The one that was yesterday, they decided to wait on the state.
Yes.
Because the state is going to be meeting, in a week or two, and they were urging them to just wait to see what the state says. And like, that doesn't always happen. So that was pretty impressive to hear them say that. But I'm confused.
We've seen that happen a couple of times in California.
Yeah, but LA, so what's the difference between, because my understanding, LA County is like all the counties that make up LA, and I've seen the map, it's huge.
Actually, LA County has 12 million people. Their population is 12 million for their county. Like you're in Harris County, right?
I'm in Harris, which is Houston, but it's not just Houston because we're a big metropolitan
city. And
city.
that's the same with LA County. Right. Now, on top of LA County trying to pass a ban, LA City, which is only 5 million, you notice I say only that way, has also decided to try and pass a bill. So a lot of times it's almost redundant, because if you pass it in the county, it kind of affects the whole city.
But is LA City, is that just mean it's LA proper? Like it's just the city of Los Angeles?
That's just within the city limits.
Because I never heard of it called LA City. And I think that's where I got confused. And I saw other people being confused between LA County, LA City. So it's just basically Los Angeles proper, which is just the city limits. Whereas the county is that plus a lot more.
Right.
So that'd be like where I live, like saying City of Houston versus Harris County, which goes over it. Interesting.
Right.
It's a learning we're all constantly learning. It's just it's so much
Constantly.
to know about this.
And see, I thought Fridays was an extension of Wednesdays because they didn't get to it. So they were two totally
I think you're right. I think you're right, Venus.
Okay.
I'm starting to twist up some of them in my head.
Yeah. Well, there's just so many of these going on.
There are, and they're easy to twist up. Easy.
I just know one of them yesterday, and Venus, you were the one that sent it was like a YouTube link, and it was just audio only, I believe. And I thought it was LA County. Is that the one you're talking about? And that's when they said, and I was just so shocked when they said, okay, we're going to defer it because the state's going to be taking this up. It's like, oh my God.
Well,
that's good news.
Part of that is a financial thing. If they can defer it and let the state do the work, it saves them money, because now it's on the state to enforce.
Yeah. Well, let's I'm going to play a couple of things out of Utah, because Utah has been heavily under attack, and it's so crazy how the senator that's brought this, first of all, for those that don't know, Utah was the first state in the country to adopt a KCPA, Kratom Consumer Protection Act. And I think for years, a lot of us, me included, thought, oh, I have a KCPA in my state because we have one in Texas. Oh, we're safe because we've got Kratom, the KCPA, Kratom Consumer Protection Act. Oh no, because a year ago we were going through this in Texas. They wanted to ban and criminalize. They basically were trying to do the same thing that happened in Louisiana last year. They tried to do, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, we have a KCPA. How is this possible? And it's like, oh, you come to find out they don't have to enforce the KCPA, because if they enforced it, it wouldn't even be an issue, right? So then we come to find out they weren't enforcing it here. It's like, well, where did those tax dollars go? I'm wondering, that we're paying for, that they're not even enforcing this. So it'd be a
Right.
non-issue.
But is there something in the KCPA that says where the money's going to come from in order to enforce it?
Oh, that I don't recall that any of that being addressed. It might have been.
Right.
Who knows?
I
But
don't either.
So a lot of times, the KCPA is passed, but everybody starts fighting over who's going to enforce it. What's the enforcement going to include? And so when it fails through no fault of anybody other than the state didn't do the work to enforce, then they come back and say, well, it didn't work. The regulations didn't happen. So we're just going to ban.
right, which is
Right.
what they try to do in Texas. And so we
Mhm.
know that's something that can happen. But I was shocked with Utah, because what I know about Utah is, number one, the first state in the country that adopted it. I think it was 2018. But even more interesting, the senator that's brought the ban bill right now, he was on board with the KCPA when this happened years ago. So it's like
Senator McKell.
Senator McKell. So what? Just like, okay,
Mhm.
what's happened since then? What's going on? Is there something going on here the public should be aware of? Like, it just,
Exactly.
and so he has been really pushing this hard. He's been making the rounds on all the news stations.
And
by the
who
end of-
got to him and changed his perception? You know?
Always follow the money.
Yes.
Oh yes, it's always the
Abs-
I mean,
Absolutely.
that goes with anything.
Mhm.
Always follow the
Absolutely.
money.
Well, I'm going to play. There was a news story. We didn't have time for it last week because it came out a little over a week ago, that I'm going to play. And it includes footage of when they had the Senate hearing with people in Utah coming to testify in person. So I want everybody to see this because it kind of builds context of what happened. And then after that, I'm going to play that just happened a few days ago, an interview with McKell, because it passed the Senate committee and then went to the floor and passed the Senate floor. So now it's going to the House, a House committee. And it can die in committee because that's what happened here in Texas. But I want to show the progression with these two videos. So we're going to first start with the news story from a little over a week ago.
Kratom is a plant that some people use as a stimulant or even as a painkiller, but Utah lawmakers and some experts are worried that it is addictive and dangerous. So Senate Bill 45 aims to ban kratom in Utah, sponsored by Senator Mike McKell.
I went to 15 different gas stations, and what I learned is that kratom is easy to buy.
In 2019, Utah passed the Kratom Consumer Protection Act, which makes it legal for adults with some restrictions. But this new legislation would make kratom illegal statewide.
Two issues that we're seeing with kratom is overdose with kratom, as well as withdrawal for kratom.
The Office of the State Medical Examiner shared that in the past 5 years, there have been 158 fatal overdoses in Utah involving kratom, and most of them also had another substance as well. During public comment, some parents shared the dangers of kratom.
But he didn't know what kratom was. It was labeled herbal and sold next to energy drinks, and it seemed like no big deal, especially here in Utah. That single purchase turned into dependence, which turned into addiction.
But most people in the room spoke in favor of it.
I have a severe facial nerve disease called trigeminal neuralgia, where I went through a myriad of things to try to solve this and just get my life back. And I finally found that in kratom.
I spent 20 months begging God every night to let me die because the pain was just unbearable. And then I found kratom, and it has completely given me my life back.
Matt Salmon is the chair of the American Kratom Association and said people are conflating kratom with chemical additives to it. He also cited FDA studies that found that a person cannot overdose on it.
As they even up the dosage up to about 10 times what the recommended dosage would be, that the worst thing that happened was 2 people got nauseated. With an opiate, if you overdose, you die.
Lawmakers moved the bill forward, but want to look at ways to maybe regulate kratom instead of outright banning it. The bill passed 7-1 and now heads to the Senate floor.
I'll probably stock up a little bit, yeah, because am I scared? Yeah. I'm afraid more or less for my kids because they're going to potentially lose a mom, an active mom.
On the Hill, I am Maithili Gubbi.
Wow. That was interesting to see how this has been playing out.
Yeah, very powerful.
Yeah, exactly. It just really bothers me that you live somewhere, you feel it's safe, you have a KCPA, you know, it should be a non-issue, and they just want to pretend it doesn't exist.
Well, maybe get it out of the gas stations, and then, you know,
Yes.
the smoke shops, you already have to be of age to get into it, minimally 18. I would be
Right.
fine with 21, but
Mm-hmm.
I still don't believe that all these establishments are just going to let children in and lose their businesses just for the sale to a minor. So get it out of the 7-Elevens, the corner stores, and those type of businesses where then kids wouldn't have access. And then
Right.
also teach your kids not to take anything that they don't know about and that's an adult oriented product anyway. I mean, I don't think they're putting a strobe light flashing it, kids come get this. I mean, I'm just being realistic.
Well, we need to have this
We always have
conversation.
to teach our kids not to
Yes.
take, you know, these things anyway. And then if they do that, it's on our children or ourselves for not teaching them better. And I'm not trying to put any parents on the line. I mean, sometimes things happen and it is a wrong situation and accidents happen to where somebody wouldn't know, but we have to always do that. We know darn well not to take something we're not supposed, you know, that wouldn't be good for us.
But here's I've always had this issue with it being in gas stations. And I want to understand, Robin, you've been around a long time. The justification I always hear from some people is that, well, it needs to be accessible, like for the drug addict who has to get on, you know, they got to take something and it's easy to access it at a convenience store or whatever, you know. I'm just not buying that. It just always seems like it's about money, access and money, so they can profit as much as possible. Get it out of the gas stations. That's the problem.
Yep.
Get it away from where kids could potentially access it.
That's right.
They're not going to get it in a smoke shop. We know how smoke shops work. So, Robin, what's your take on this whole gas station thing with these products?
I think the biggest thing is it has to start with education. People, I don't care if you're selling it in a gas station or if you're selling it in a smoke shop, you need to know what it is you're selling.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly. Precisely.
Because you have to learn about beer. Why shouldn't you have to learn about Kratom?
That's right.
And it has to be, I mean, if they're going to sell it in gas stations, education, and keep it behind the counter where nobody can get to it without
That's right.
ID.
That's right.
Follow the same rules that you're trying to impose on Kratom vendors anywhere it's sold. Now, do I like the idea of it in gas stations? Not personally, not really. But if it came with proper education and proper sales, then I could lighten my stance. Yeah, and also, like you were saying, Twinkle, responsibility. Quit putting Kratom to blame for someone else's misstep. Acknowledge somebody had a problem. They took too much. They took other things with it.
That's right.
And now they're suffering or they have passed. I'm sorry for the parents that have lost children.
Me too.
But Kratom did not do it.
Yep.
It was the other
Exactly.
substances.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I think we wouldn't be in the situation we're in with it being under attack at the level it is if it just wasn't so easily accessible in places it really doesn't have a place in.
Yeah.
You know?
And I know part of it was a lot of people felt that when it was finally being sold in gas stations, they reached a level of acceptability and respectability. Because everything's sold in a gas station. So,
and as an
wonderful.
example, St. John's Wort, you cannot take that even with other prescribed medications. It doesn't have to be an opioid medication, just
Right.
other medications. There are adverse effects with that. We have to know what we're taking. And, you know, we just have to know what we're taking before we take it. We have to do our part.
Yeah, we have
for
to be
ourselves.
responsible,
Yes, ma'am.
be it as a parent or a consumer or both.
Mhm.
Well, Christopher, medicinal plant educations, Christopher, he says, I had a conversation with some of the larger vendors and gas stations. The argument was alcohol is sold in gas stations, so why not Kratom? See, to me, that's just a money grab, my personal opinion. Many gas stations don't know what they're selling.
And
that's where education comes in.
Gas stations wouldn't necessarily have the time with the education to stop and take care of the customers that come in, whereas a smoke shop, they're trying to sell things anyway, so they would more have that 2 minutes or 1 minute to spend with the customer, whereas I don't see it too much in a gas station, even though it should be there to do so. I don't know if they would take the time to school and educate the person that's buying the product. So maybe,
Well, and another challenge is, as a vendor or seller or distributor, you're not supposed to be able to talk about what Kratom is or does.
Right.
So how can we expect them to be responsible and educated if they can't use that?
Or
so that's
maybe have
where
a little
folks like
insert,
us.
a little pamphlet or a little insert,
Right.
even if it's just a 1 page, a little something that goes along with the product, and then you're releasing yourself of the liability because you've passed on that education, and it's up to the customer to read that.
Right.
Yep, I love that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where advocates and advocacy groups should be playing a major role, is getting the education out there to people to make use of.
Yeah, and Christopher says in New Jersey, we don't have alcohol anywhere except liquor stores, not beer in stores or anything. That's interesting.
Yeah, I've seen states like that.
Not like that here in
Delaware's the
Texas.
same.
And I think my mom said in Georgia, they had a different kind of rule there too. And I don't live in Georgia, so I only know from the times I visited my mama. It's not like for us in California, it's everywhere. It's in a corner store, it's in a grocery store, it's in everywhere. There's no, like, I think in Georgia on certain days, it wasn't even sold until a certain time.
That's how it was in Texas.
Sundays.
Yeah.
Bible Belt.
But yeah, in Texas, so when I was growing up, it's called the Blue Law. So I was growing up in Texas, almost everything was closed on Sundays. It was crazy growing up like that. And yeah, liquor stores didn't, I think they didn't open until noon at one point. Oh, I'm getting some feedback. Robin, I think that's from you. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden.
I apologize.
Yeah, it's doing like I can hear myself through your phone. Yeah, things changed over time. You can get everything on Sunday now, but what we don't have here is you cannot buy liquor at a grocery store. And I remember like traveling when I was younger and like, you can buy liquor at a grocery store? To me, that was so bizarre because we don't have that here.
It still
And
is to me.
because of the sales, they make sure they wrap it around where everybody has access to it. Every aisle you go down, there's something there on the end caps, to be for the advertising, and it's just here, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's going to be different state by state.
Of course.
One thing I do want to mention, going back to when Robin was saying that, how important education is. There is a Kratom manufacturer, Jeremy Stedding at 1836 Kratom, and I love what he does. And I had him on the Kratom Stories podcast a few years ago, and it's an amazing story he tells. So he's a manufacturer. So he sells to distributors. He sells to vendors, to shops, smoke shops and stuff. He requires them to take a series of education. They have to watch his educational videos. He has like a whole series of videos educating them. And he has a whole thing on 7-OH. I remember telling him all the companies should do something like that. That should be required. So at least whoever now then it's on the sellers to then have their employees watch it too. But at least the sellers as much as I'm sure for plenty of them, it's just a money grab. They don't care. They just want to make money. But there should be a level of education required. We would be in such a different place right now.
Oh, we would.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Absolutely. Agreed.
So, Angela,
Completely agree.
yeah, Angela remembers the blue laws. That was a thing here, the blue laws in Texas. Yeah, Deborah, please.
When I was a child, I lived in a county that had blue laws right next to a county that was literally on top of us, split Amarillo, in fact, and they didn't have blue laws.
Really?
So half the street was blue law on Sunday and half the street was not.
Wow, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Potter and I think Randall is the other county. But the one county had the base in it, so they didn't enforce the blue law because of the military personnel.
Right.
But the single biggest thing is we have to educate everyone.
Absolutely. And that's why we do this. I mean, a big part
Yeah.
of what we're doing here is to help educate people so they understand like what's going on all over across everything when it comes to Kratom. I'm going to play the next video about Utah. So the senator that was pushing to, and it's not just to ban Kratom, it's to criminalize it. And I just don't understand any need for criminalization anywhere that would affect a consumer. I just don't get it.
Mm-mm.
So the senator from Utah who pushed this through on the Senate side, so now it's just waiting for the House side. He was interviewed, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and I'm going to play the part where he talks about Kratom.
And Senator McCall, to one that you are particularly connected to, that people might not realize so much. We're going to have to talk about what it is. Kratom.
Yeah,
all right. Talk about what it is, because this is some regulation. I think there's something.
And I'm actually glad I'm here with Senator Plum. She's a doctor in the real world. She's done more work to deal with opioid addiction and the use of naloxone than anybody in the legislature. Kratom is an opioid. It impacts your opioid receptors. A lot of folks call it gas station heroin. There is an industry that started as a multi-million-dollar industry. It's now $1 billion industry. This is a very dangerous product. It should not be sold in gas stations. It should not be sold in smoke shops. You got a pretty big lobby out there with a lot of money trying to push this on states across the nation. It's inappropriate, and we need to get it off the shelves. There's no doubt this is an opioid. It's killing folks. In 2019, we passed the Kratom Protection Act in the state of Utah. And the moment we passed that bill, our deaths skyrocketed. It's not working, and people are dying. And I'm glad you brought it up.
Where's he getting that information from? What deaths?
I don't know, because even poison control numbers don't match him.
That just makes no sense. Where are the receipts? The dude needs to give us receipts, because that's crazy.
And the proper receipts, not the retracted ones, like the deaths that are blamed on it. And then it comes out that wasn't true, but they don't push that narrative out. They don't cover the truth on it. So they're going by inaccurate information sometimes. They should be doing more work than all of us are doing to make sure that they put out the truth.
Wow. I just can't believe he's saying, and we have to remember, this is being put out on the media there in Utah. People that don't know what Kratom is listening to this, and they're buying into this. I just don't understand where's the proof? All right, I'm going to keep going.
And why doesn't he have to provide it?
Right. They should be
because
required.
We do.
They should be required to provide it. All right, let's keep going.
It's a form, it's gas station heroin. That's what it is. Let's call it what it is. And we need to get it off the shelves.
So Senator, can I show a video? And then particularly as a physician, it's so important to get your perspective of this. There was a hearing just this past week on this very thing. And I want to show some responses for some of the public. And then I'd just love to have your lens on this.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's show the video.
I'm a widower because I lost my wife
to this product?
Over time, this substance changed how he thought and functioned. He lost his job, dropped out of school, and moved out of state.
When I go and take it, within 15 minutes, my body can walk, I can function in life.
To straight out ban plain leaf powder would be a death sentence in my life.
Okay. A couple sides on that from the testimony.
It's really hard to watch because there are people who really do feel that their life has been bettered by access to this substance. And then the reality is that the way that it has been pushed out across our state and the frank greed, I would say, from the folks who are making, distributing, and selling it is going to result in those folks not being able to have access to the product. We talk about the pure leaf tea. I do think, and I think a lot of us have had these conversations, there's something in there that's worth exploring, but the greed and the recklessness has made it to the point where we can't trust it to be out there and safe for our citizens. And for the last 6 years, sadly, I've watched, much like Senator McKell has, as it's gotten out of control. And the numbers of deaths that had kratom involved in them were, 1 or 2, still too many, but now it's over 100 every year. So
over 100 every year. Where's this information? Has anybody heard this before? This is news to me.
Never.
I have heard it from them, but no one nowhere else.
Right, that's what I meant from them.
There's no facts.
I mean, they need to provide the receipts because this is just not right. It sounds like they're just making up stuff. And interesting, when they played some of that testimony, they made sure it was almost all sob stories of how kratom has killed loved ones versus how many people's lives have been saved from this plant.
And they talk about greed. They aren't talking about the financial impact that banning kratom is going to have on their state. The loss of productivity, the loss of income, the loss of tax money, it's going to hit.
Yeah, Becca's here. Hey, Becca.
Hi, Becca.
I think you're muted.
Hi, Becca.
Hi, sorry, having some technical difficulties.
That's
here.
okay. That's
But
okay.
hello, how are you guys?
We're always good. We're right in the middle of watching this whole Utah thing from this week.
Yeah.
What's your thought when, you're also OG kratom consumer and advocate, Becca? I mean, they have a KCPA in Utah. Like, what's your thought on that? We're like, so many of us thought we're safe with the KCPA.
Well, I've agreed with you since the beginning that we created the KCPA for a reason, and it was made into a law to be enforced. And if we're not enforcing it, there's a problem. And it feels like a lot of the states that already have KCPAs that are going after bans, like it just feels like more is going on here, and they're not doing their part to enforce the laws that are already on the book. And that is a problem as well, and it's not being addressed. And also in the last video, I just want to say that I really, as somebody from the vendor side, I just want to say that we really resent that idea that all vendors are in this for greed or money. A lot of us, especially the ones who started in the early 2010s, when kratom started to become popular, it was because so many of us cared. So many of us found kratom ourselves, and we cared so much, and it just wanted to be part of the industry and make sure that others got quality products. And it's just really disheartening to hear them talk about it like that the whole industry is just a bunch of greedy people, because we are not.
That's so well said.
I
I'm so glad you said
agree.
that.
There's so many people that are trying to help you, Sarah and Dan, Christopher. I mean, there's just so many of them. Jordan. I'm trying not to leave anybody out, but there's so many that I'm not even familiar with, and not everybody is out there trying to do it for the wrong reasons, or actually trying to help people. And that would include me as an abandoned pain patient with, so I literally have no options of relief. I'm
Well,
trying to find
the bad actors should be pushed out, bottom line.
Yeah.
The problem is a lot of them have deep pockets. And with the deep
Right.
pockets, they'll never be pushed out. We know that very well. So it's just.
But it's up to us as consumers to stop buying their product and giving them even more deep pockets.
Absolutely.
We as consumers have to find those good people, the ones doing it right, doing it with care, doing it for the right reason, and supporting them.
That's why I have a list. That's why I have a very curated list I have on my website at cramestoriespodcast.com. YouTube doesn't like us talking about that, so I will not go into detail, but go to cramestoriespodcast.com. I have lots of resources on there, including, that. So because yeah, that's such a great point. Support the ones that do things right. The only ones that I get mine from are the ones that advocate and educate. Because those are the two most important things to me is education and advocacy. And if these companies are not doing that, I'm not spending my money on them.
And I'm a creature of habit. I stay with who I know. So the ones that I just mentioned are the only ones other than the local one. And he was a veteran and he's closing up shop finally. But, and that was EE Botanicals. So for many years, that was my source and they were just amazing. But, I will suggest to people who I have been with, and then I like to stay to my little tiny group, just the ones and that doesn't mean I won't venture out. I'm sure there's other great ones out there. I just haven't been in the position to be able to try them all as of yet. It could take years. It could take years.
Yeah, but definitely support the ones doing things right.
Absolutely.
That's the best thing to do. Well, let's keep watching the Utah because it's not quite over yet. Becca, are we good with audio now? Thank you, Angela, for pointing out Becca's audio. So.
Yes, sorry about that. It was actually
because we can't tell in StreamYard. Everybody sounds so. Y'all watching live, if anybody's audio is too low, let us know in the comments because we can't tell in StreamYard. It all sounds the same here. All right, let's finish this up. This is almost over.
This has to unfortunately be hit with a hard hammer because I don't think there's a way to regulate it when they're.
Oh, so their hard hammer is let's criminalize consumers. See, I have a big problem with that. I'll keep going, but I have a problem when legislators want to criminalize everyday people because of something that has nothing to do with them. They're talking about the companies, not people, but let's just
makes me wonder if their jails are empty or something.
Yeah, there's something else going on. It's like
Suboxone.
Yeah, that too.
There's been so much recklessness around getting it out there to people.
Okay, just tell us what you're hearing.
I just want to say first, from a journalist perspective, it's very interesting to see. You rarely hear a lawmaker say, "I voted wrong," and Senator McKell has said that he voted wrong on legalizing Kratom and bringing it into the mainstream, and now is trying to reverse that. So just from that perspective, this is fascinating to me. But what am I hearing? We get voicemails from people who call in with pretty horrific stories about losing loved ones, either to Kratom or to suicide, and debt that they've racked up and things like that. And so I won't weigh in one way or the other on the issue, and I'm certainly not a physician, but there is a strong case being made out there that Utah maybe got it wrong a couple of years ago and needs to fix it. We'll see what happens as the session plays out.
Okay, last word on this.
Just last word. This is an industry that I don't trust or respect at this point. This last week they've been heavily lobbying Capitol Hill. They brought some research from a group called Piney and Associates, and they're probably going to watch your show and they're going to be concerned about my comments. But I've got their 990s. I've got the tax returns for those folks associated with Kratom. And I can tell you that Piney Associates, this medical science that they're using to promote this product was paid for by the Kratom industry. They're a big lobby. There's a lot of money on the line, and I get that. But I appreciate Daniel's comments. I voted for this in 2019. I wish I never had. I didn't run the bill, but I did vote for the Kratom Protection Act. That was a mistake, and I hope I get a chance to make it right and eliminate that protection.
Senator, go ahead.
Okay, so that's pretty much the end of that segment on that. Robin, what's your take on him talking about Piney and Associates? The industry paying for the research?
We keep hearing that. And is the industry paying for research? Yes. If nobody else does, somebody has to. But for them to try and malign Tiny and Associates, Dr. Jack Henningfield, who has been involved with this since 2016, is one of the most respected researchers in the country. He used to write 8-factor analysis for the FDA and for major companies. So for them to say he's bought and paid for is actually, to me, slanderous. That makes me so angry, because how dare you accuse us of what you're doing? You're throwing these lies and these false facts out there and thinking it's okay. But when we try to refute them with truth, we get accused of being bought and paid for.
Yeah. But the government does plenty of research on kratom.
Yes, they do.
And
NIDA.
Yeah, NIDA has done a lot. And interesting how they never talk about any of that.
Oh, no.
I have never heard anybody in government bring up the fact that the FDA did a single dose study that shows kratom is safe. They never talk about that. The FDA won't even post it on their site.
They can't even talk about the fact that the FDA last summer reversed their decision on kratom and said kratom appears to be safe when used correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, they're accusing us of what they are doing.
Yeah, it's just not right at all.
Agreed.
And they've been doing research on abuse potential, that they're not finding it to be any real abuse potential, but the government is funding studies. They have been, and they currently are. They never bring that up.
There's over 2,000 studies of kratom on PubMed. Those weren't all funded by the kratom advocates and organizations. Most of them were funded by scientific backing. So, yeah, that's beyond frustrating to hear him say that. And like I said, to malign someone like Dr. Henningfield, who has been doing this for more years than that man's been in politics and has a stellar reputation, and that's just uncalled for.
Yeah, he's one of the leading experts. It is slanderous the way they're talking about guys talking about him. Well, this is a good opportunity to remind everybody, be sure to join Robin's group, Botanical Advocacy and Education. Go to botanicalae.org. We need everybody speaking out. It's so important. Kratom is under attack. How many ban bills and hearings, Robin, are you estimating right now?
37 states and well over 130 actions.
And this is the most, I mean, in all my years as a consumer and an advocate, I've never seen this many.
Yeah, we were all involved in that 2015, 2016 fight. We were at home helping people get to DC for the rally. We know the terror that encompassed all of us. I'm more afraid now than I was then. Because just trying to keep track of all these fights, let alone making sure that people are there to speak out. And for anyone that chooses not to join us, join GKC, join AKA. I don't care who you're with. Get involved and start fighting. Start spreading the word, because we cannot do this alone.
Yeah.
And you know, the people that live in Louisiana, I feel for them, because those that don't pay attention to any of this stuff, that don't know what's going on, I'm sure there are thousands and thousands of people that live in Louisiana that one day last year woke up and like, you know what? I'm running out of kratom. I need to go to the smoke shop and buy some. Or let me go to my favorite vendor online and order some. I'm almost out. Only to find out, oh, your state banned
Is
it.
banned.
But they didn't only
Mhm.
ban it, they criminalized it. It's Schedule 1. You could go
Right.
to prison for
Right.
Yes.
possessing it. And
Right.
I'm so
Mm-mm.
grateful that I found out about all the advocacy stuff early on in my Kratom journey, but not everybody does. And
Right.
so I really feel for people that are not aware of this. And I think this is a good opportunity for all of us Kratom consumers. Anybody you know that's a fellow Kratom consumer, let them know. Like, they need to be aware of these things, because you literally
Mhm.
could wake up one day and it's banned and criminalized where you live, and you could go to prison for it, or not have
Right.
any access where you cannot buy it. And
Right.
that's
Well, and as
scary.
much as we scream from the rooftops, we have to have people like Taunton Bay, people like Christopher's Organics,
Yes.
Jordan Richards. We have to have them spreading the word to their consumers, because they have a bigger reach than we do. You know, you're talking thousands and thousands of consumers that only know something because they chose to use a good vendor who keeps them abreast. Let the rest of these vendors that are making money off of us start doing the same thing.
Yes.
Every vendor should be sending out weekly, bi-weekly emails saying,
And all
hey,
the
this
ones
is what's going on.
the ones you've listed, they're doing that. For those
Right.
that don't know, Jordan Richard at New Hope just
He's amazing.
started. He has an email list, and he has a new text you can sign up for. I have a link to it. Let me find it. I made a little link that'll take you right to it, because he has a long URL. Let me give you all the shortcut and do this right now. Go to kratomstoriespodcast.com/take action. And this is going to take you to where you can sign up to Jordan's new list, so you'll be aware. He has it set up as, for text messages, and you'll be notified of things that are going on, because he's staying on top of this. Christopher's been sending out emails constantly about this. Happy Hippo has been doing it. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of the good reputable companies step up and do it,
Good.
which I'm super impressed, and we need more of that. So that's an
Mhm.
excellent point, Robin. It's just making sure everybody here with us, and tell your fellow Kratom friends too. Sign up for some, like Robin said, sign up with them, sign up with the GKC, sign up with somebody, anybody. Just
Yes.
come here each week, because we keep you informed. Just stay aware
Mm-hmm.
so that you know what's happening.
There's
As
ways
much
that
as we
every
promote as much as we promote educating sellers of Kratom, we have to promote educating ourselves as to what's going on with Kratom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And consumers, the best thing they can do is watch their area. You know, check your own backyard. I found a bill here in Montana that snuck through because I was so busy paying attention to other stuff, I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just as guilty, but we as consumers have to be tracking our own neighborhoods, our own meetings, our own stuff.
Right. Exactly. And Angela brings up a great point, saying that she can't even take a vacation in New Orleans now because it's banned and criminalized there. And it's such a good point. New Orleans, which is a huge tourist attraction, especially right now with Mardi Gras time. It's like, if you're a Kratom consumer, you either go without or just don't go, and that's.
And for most of us, we just don't go.
But also,
Yeah.
there's plenty of people that don't even know. People that travel, people that are doing RV, people that are truck
That's the
drivers,
worrisome
and they have
part.
no idea about all these
Right.
different state laws, and not just states. I mean, there are some states where it's legal, but it's a town or a county.
And then
that's
you're
banned it.
driving
Mississippi.
through, and you become a criminal for just driving through, and
Yeah.
now you're not doing anything but possessing it for your own well-being or your chronic pain, or even to be on the trip
Right.
in the first place. And now
Mhm.
you're in trouble, and that we can't let that happen. I mean,
Mississippi's a perfect example of that, Twinkle. There's 20 different communities in Mississippi at least that have banned,
oh my goodness. Yeah.
and yet others
More
haven't.
things
So
happen.
good luck getting around that state.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And then to
Mhm.
expect them all to know differentiate, I can't say that word, between what somebody actually has, like the guy that had Miranda, you know, and spent 8 months in jail.
Oh my
Right.
goodness.
Yeah, it took 8 months
Well,
for them to test wherever it
and-
was that happened.
and
8
that
months before they
made
tested
no
it.
sense. Right. That was so
But it looked like
wrong.
Kratom, and they thought it was Kratom, and he probably didn't have money to bail out, so he was in jail for 8 months. And they finally tested it.
And a simple test. So simple.
Well, and then you have to know the difference between the community that banned it. Did they ban it for just sales, or did they ban it for possession? Is it a misdemeanor slap on the wrist, or is it a class 1 felony?
Right.
Right.
It's so hard to stay on top of all this because there's just so. But your website, Robin, does a great job of just like listing
Thank
all
you.
the things going on. And Deborah brings up a great point. She says she travels 6 months out of the year, does the RV, and says she can't take her Kratom with her.
And that makes a good point, because we just got an RV so that we can make, because, you know, we're trying to make memories before we're not Earthside anymore. And I'm going to have to make sure that anywhere that we go, that I'm safe. And that's going to be very inconvenient, or absolutely not go. And so she makes an excellent point. And people that are living, you know, in their vehicles that have moved from, let's say, KOA to KOA to pull into there to have a place to live or sleep, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I have a daughter that lives in Alabama. I can't go see her.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're
I did
doing
tell her I'd come
now-
to Tennessee because she's about 30 miles from the Tennessee border, but now Tennessee's looking to ban, so
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, I can't even get close to her because I'm not going to try and travel without Kratom. I know better.
Yeah.
I would only be able to travel because I had Kratom, you know.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
Exactly.
100%.
Perfectly said, Venus. That's what I was trying to say. We wouldn't even be able to go without the Kratom in the first place, without the tea. So how would, you know,
We need a Kratom GPS so it would show us wherever we're going, you know, warning, warning, go around this town.
right.
That's a great idea.
Like those games, those geo games people used to play, so that it would just pop up, you know,
have
you're
it
safe or you're not safe.
an alarm.
Yeah. Someone will do it. Someone will
I
do
hope
it.
somebody does. That would be an app that would be
Actually,
very,
we're working on something similar to that.
excellent. I that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Yeah. But you know, it's just I know the comments come up from time to time in here. What about all the Tylenol deaths? What about the deaths from drinking water? Like that happens. I mean, why is Kratom always singled out?
That's right.
Because it has the most wide benefit.
That's got the benefit, so they're trying to shut it down. Yep.
Because it's so unique, I think, and you know, there's just so much to Kratom and the industry, and the fact that it's new, and that this is what they're seeing in their mind as a new problem, even though we've been kind of fighting the same issue with numerous herbs like kava and others since the 90s. And
yes,
yeah.
And there's times I actually sit and fantasize about someone finding that golden ticket of, say, recognized provable sales for consumption prior to 94.
Oh my gosh, me
Becca
too.
knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Me
I saw her head
too.
start shaking.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I have a set of 100-year-old encyclopedias, but I think they're like kids' encyclopedias, I guess. And I actually looked it up the other day to see, like online, if there was any mention of that in there, and they said there wasn't. I didn't expect it to be, but I was hoping, you know.
Look for Korth, Korth.
Oh, okay. All right, I will do that.
I mean, we know it was here. It's been here for probably 100 years, but proving it was here for sale, for consumption.
That is,
like I said, that's that golden ticket.
Can you explain what I know about it, but can you explain to those watching like what would happen?
With any botanical or food product, when you're trying to get people to acknowledge that it is safe, you can go for generally recognized as safe status. And Becca, correct me if I'm using the wrong terms, please. So if we could prove that Kratom had been sold for consumption prior to 1994, that gives us an amazing leg up on proving Kratom's safety and efficacy.
Because of the DSHEA Act.
DSHEA Act, yeah.
What it's called. I
Mhm.
don't know if it's 92 or 94,
It's
or if they
94.
have some kind of an
94,
exception,
yeah.
but you're right. It's like
Things got
somewhere around
grandfathered
that
in.
date. If you have some
Mhm.
kind of proof that it was sold in the United States, like it would be considered underneath the
The
DSHEA Act.
DSHEA,
But
yep.
because we don't have proof before or during that time, like we are stuck in this gray area, and that's really like what's caused this whole
All this.
problem
Right.
this whole
Mhm.
time.
And a few years back, I had a conversation with Ryan, who used to be with the AKA, about that, because I actually first started taking Kratom in 2009, 2010, but it was sporadically. I only started taking it on a daily regular basis about 7 years ago, but I had taken it off and on all throughout those prior years. But I'm not so far back as to,
Right.
he wanted to know if I could show him, and I didn't have anything then. But I like to tell my story of when I first started taking it, how it was in the flip pack. It was just it was either 5 or 10 on top and 5 or 10 on bottom. And it was just in a little flip pack of the tablets. And then the jars were very tiny little round jars that maybe would have been 30 grams, 50 maybe. Very expensive, but but anyhow, I just wanted to mention that I there's no way I could go back prior to 90, prior to those years. I
And
wish
there
I
was that
could.
one person that we used to, that I think everybody in the country chased, that swore he had the records, swore he had the receipts, and yet could never produce them.
I
And I
remember
think,
that. I do
yeah, it
remember
got
that.
all of us happy for a minute until he couldn't produce it. But yeah, it has to be sold for consumption.
Is that really the stipulation? Is it that it's sold for consumption or sold in the US?
It's supposed to be sold for consumption to properly meet DSHEA.
Thank you. I was not sure on that point.
Yeah. And DSHEA is dietary supplement. Oh, I can't remember.
And that makes sense now that you mention
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But it's the act that basically grandfathered all the vitamins and minerals in.
And you know what's so interesting? Orrin Hatch was the senator behind that, and he was a Kratom consumer. Even though
Yes.
like all of that had nothing to do with Kratom at the time, but then to come to find out he was a Kratom consumer. Wow.
Yeah.
That was mind-blowing when I found that out.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I think it,
Yeah.
I think the people reporting on Kratom and at these meetings and hearings would be very surprised to find out those who consume Kratom, whether it be every day or occasionally, and in whatever form. It's as a vendor, I've seen people from all walks of life purchase our products, so I know that it's not just like this one group of people like they try to make it out to be. It's a very complex story of our community.
it's all walks of life.
It is.
Well, and
You know.
I remember back in 2016, 2017, when we even had the organization at the time, it was called LEAF, Law Enforcement Against, or LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition.
Yes.
And having those folks was spectacular because these are law enforcement officials, first responders, And they're out there saying Kratom is safe, Kratom is beneficial, Kratom is necessary, leave it alone.
Mhm.
Those were great people to have because they could
Whatever
speak.
happened to them?
They underwent a change in name and management, I guess would be the word. And I don't know really where they stand at this point.
Gotcha.
It's on my to-do list to try and reach out to them again.
Nice.
Because they really were, their testimonies were spectacular. And just their stance that leave things alone. Quit trying to
Right.
prohibit things.
We definitely need them back.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Well, let's get back to some videos. I was going to play the part 2 of that Vincent Rocco Vargas interest. It's a long video, so I don't think we're going to have time today. I think what I want to do right now is revisit a video we were watching a few weeks ago that we didn't get to finish clips from. And it was that big interview with Ryan Niddel on the Julie and Dory podcast, which is this podcaster guy with over 1 million subscribers. And so for those who aren't familiar with Ryan Niddel, he is the CEO of Diversified Botanics. That's Mid 45 and Golden Monk Kratom. And what's cool about and he's come on the live stream. He came on a while back last year to talk to us. And something I really like for his company, which is one of the big Kratom manufacturers, is how transparent they are. And they have live webcams 24/7 at their facility. And I think that's incredible. And how awesome would that be for all manufacturers to do that? Would you feel better about buying your Kratom when you could go watch it being manufactured and processed on a live webcam at any time? I think it's pretty phenomenal. So I really dig that his company does that. They're the only ones doing it. Anyway, he was on this big podcast. We watched some of clips from it a few weeks ago. It was very interesting. He's a super smart guy. And he talked about just all different aspects in the industry. But there was still more. And I want to play some more clips because I found the interview to be fascinating. I know people are divided in the community about Ryan and I know with some of those larger manufacturers and stuff, but I think he knows a lot. He's been in the industry for a while, and I really got educated watching this. Has everybody seen it? Do y'all know what I'm talking about?
I haven't seen it all, but it's something I want to watch. I just don't have the attention span, so I'm glad that you're playing it here.
It's long. It's, when I found it a few weeks ago, it is 2 hours and 49 minutes because long stream podcasts are what's in on YouTube. It's such a thing. And this YouTuber, like I said, he has over 1 million subscribers. And this video has been viewed 111,000 times. So it's getting the views. But he talks about a variety of things. And I'm going to play, now this is a little bit of a longer segment, but it's super interesting. And so I don't know if we'll have time for me. Whatever segments I don't get to today, we'll pick up next week. There's even a segment where, you know what, I want to play this. I want to make sure we have time for this. I'm going to do a segment first that's only a couple of minutes long, but it's eye-opening about kind of changing his stance a bit on 7-OH. You don't hear that very often. I want to start with this because I want to make sure this part gets in, and then after that, I'll go to the part I was going to start with because it's fascinating and interesting, and it definitely gives us stuff to talk about. So let me cue it up. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up. All right.
We'll say $20.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people consuming a lot of product. If it was as harmful as I would like it to be, not as I might have made it out to be, you would have seen people dying left.
He's talking about 7-OH, by the way.
Right and center.
I understand what you're saying.
Right. There's so much that's been consumed. It's like, okay, hold on. I want to be right, but I might not be right. And so if it's not killing people, which is a fucked up basis for base level, I'm acknowledging that.
Yep.
It's still addictive. Yes. But there's a handful of people that are consuming it that it's physically helping them exist. They're business owners, their mothers and fathers that are using it to get through their day. That's a small subset. I'm a numeric guy. So I look at the fact, if you look at the average gas station convenience store in the US, you're going to get somewhere around, by the time the water finds level, you have about 20 million potential people that are going to buy something inside of a gas station at point of sale that could be easily converted to try something new. It's about how the math breaks out. When you look at the number of people that are in active recovery right now, stated in the US, it's about 2.5 million. So if I look at who am I going to look to protect more, the 2.5 million people that could completely get off of fentanyl, could completely get off of methamphetamines, could completely get off of Suboxone, methadone, and switch to a natural botanic-based product, maybe 2 or 3 million people. Those people do matter. But I look at the 20 million people that are walking to a gas station.
Yes.
We need to protect those people from making a mistake and becoming addicted. So the challenging part is the genie's out of the bottle. You look at what's happened in the CBD world, Steve, cannabis, CBD. So we, from Steve's time on Steve's show, we became connected to Steve from Maine, right? And started sharing all the information that we had as well.
Yeah, I knew Rocco knew him, so I figured you did too.
Hold on. I think that was the only part I wanted to show on that, where he's acknowledging that 7-OH is helping people in the chronic pain community. We don't hear that stance taken very often by the
No, we need to hear it more often, because it is helping more people.
It is.
I definitely appreciate that part. So
yeah, I wasn't expecting that, and it's so far. I mean, that segment is an hour and 51 minutes in. So like, I know not everybody's going to get to that because it's a long interview. It took me a while to go through it all, but I just found that really interesting. And then him also talking about the gas stations, which we had just talked about. So super interesting. It's an interesting interview. But let me I just wanted to not miss that part. I wanted y'all to hear that part because I just found that to be incredibly interesting. So I'm going to go to the next part that I wanted to play for y'all. All right. Oh, and real quick, Robin, somebody was asking here about Susan Ash. Is she still in the fight? Somebody's
yes. I can't speak for her, but I would say yes.
Which is awesome to hear. Susan Ash, who started the American Kratom Association, but it was a whole group of y'all, right? I mean, she was known as what, the president of the AKA when it first started?
She actually started the entire process. She then brought in Paul Kemp, Will Robbins. There were a couple other people that started to work on the board, and it just didn't fit their time frame and their lifestyle at that time. She then brought in Angela and then myself. So we were the original 5. But AKA was her brainchild.
Wow.
And she did some amazing things.
Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for all the work you all did, I don't think we'd all be here today.
Well, and it was not just us. It was all of us with the advocates. And we had some amazing vendors even back then. And believe me, there was a whole lot of trial and error. You know, throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. So, but she came from a background of advocacy. So it was very easy for her to step into this new advocate role.
Well, y'all all did an amazing job. And
well, thank you.
I knew about her because the way I found Kratom was the documentary in 2019 called A Leaf of Faith.
Leaf of Faith.
And it spotlighted her and the American Kratom Association. I think that's how I was able to get connected with the AKA early on and join their mailing list, because I learned so much from that documentary. Here, I didn't know anything about Kratom. I lose access to pain management. And at the time, it was on Netflix. It's on YouTube now. So anybody that wants to watch it, go to YouTube and put in A Leaf of Faith, L-E-A-F, A Leaf of Faith. It's an amazing documentary. So at the time, it was only on Netflix. And I just remember one night, I'm just like trying to figure out what to watch on Netflix. And here this pops up. And I'm like, this sounds interesting. And I watch it and I'm like, there's a plant that could help chronic pain. And I remember watching going, there's no way this is going to help my chronic pain. My chronic pain's so severe, but I need to find something. I need an alternative. But I was really impressed with Susan in the documentary and the filmmaker, Chris Bell, and seeing this positive story about a plant that's been changing lives for decades. It's incredible.
Centuries.
So, well, yeah. I mean, just in the US, it's been decades, but like, yeah, centuries.
Right.
So I really appreciate all the work you all did in those early days, because if it wasn't for what you all did, like I said, I don't think we'd be here today, because the government was so bent on federally turning into a Schedule 1 and only giving 30 days notice. Scary that they could do that, you know? So, hey, Cameron, good to see you here. All right, so I'm going to play some more clips from this really good interview.
So there's been new studies that have emerged. These aren't our studies. We can pull them up and find them.
Yeah, let's do that.
That 10 milligrams of consumption of 7-hydroxy, 7-OH, in rodent studies. Now, rodents are a little different because you have to go IV with rodents because their oral digestive pathways are really inefficient for these products. So you have to.
So see, there's been times on here where we're like, what's with the whole, but the rodent study is IV. And he's explaining this. So again, this is such a phenomenal interview because he explains a lot of things that so many of us question. And I've always wondered, like, okay, how is the whole rodent compares to humans when humans orally consume 7-OH and or kratom, natural kratom, but with rodents, they do all this with IV. So fascinating information for us to learn about.
Put it in their veins. So I'm acknowledging it's a little different, but what that ultimately equates to is a blood serum level that equals 10 milligrams or more. When you get to 10 milligrams or more from this study, N might have been 8 or 9, so not significant, but significant enough to give a little insight to it. You start to see that it triggers all the same effects of a morphine, and also shows that it's now addictive, where the rodents now in stimulated models are chasing that high. They're following the same pathway. They're searching more of the same behavior.
I'm trying to like make this mathematical in my head though a little bit to understand. So I apologize if I'm slowing you down.
Not at all.
But when you say, so it's 13 to 30 times as potent as morphine. And what you were just saying there is that at this 10 milligram, Joe pulled it up, it is approximately 10 milligram, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
When they put it into rodents, you said it has the same effects as morphine. Right?
Well, when you put it into rodents instead of 10 milligrams, so you have not only the analgesic effect, right, the opioid receptor effect,
right,
but by the nature of opioids, I think we could all kind of unilaterally agree there's a mechanism that we become addicted to them because people like the way it makes them feel.
Yes.
Right. That's the issue. And so the same things happen now with 10 milligrams of consumption IV based. Now I'm going to take a step back from IV because I think this is also important.
Okay.
When you consume a capsule of product, so if we were to go to a gas station right now, you're going to see 7-hydroxy for the most part in press tabs. It's going to be little like 5 to 6, you probably pull it up, 5 to 6 count packages of tabs that are in these little, you press them out and they fall in your hand. The industry started that each one of those tabs was 10 milligrams. Then the industry is known for chasing the stronger and stronger and stronger. So it went from 10 milligrams per tab to 20 to 40 to now when you pull up some of the more recent tabs that are in the market, you're going to see a pack of 4 tabs is 200 milligrams of 7-hydroxy.
Now and how much more does the average human weigh than a rat?
There's a whole science. There's a conversion mechanism of right, what percentage goes to what and where. I don't have a committed memory. I think it's 3.6 times. It takes 3.6 times as much product to have the same effect. We can pull.
That's
it up.
Less than I thought. First of all, secondly, though, let's go back to the rat for a minute because now I'm formulating how I want to ask this question. So when you put 10 milligrams of this shit into a rat
in their veins,
yep, intravenously, it has an effect that morphine has on them. How much morphine would it take do you know, to have to put into their veins that would have the same level of effect?
I don't. It's in that study. When we pulled up and shared the study, it's in there.
That's what I want to know.
I want to make sure that I'm not, again,
Yeah,
when I don't know the answer, I'm not gonna bullshit it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But what I do know is the counter argument to this, which I can appreciate. You take a press tab of 7-hydroxy. We'll use round numbers. We'll say it's a 100 milligram tab. Only a certain percentage of that is bioavailable, right? Because you're going to break it down through digestive pathways. So that 100 milligrams, let's say it's a 30% bioavailable product. So you have 100 milligrams in the tab, but as it reaches your digestive tract and gets to the backside, you only have 30 milligrams that are present.
Isn't that like false advertising?
No, it's every product we consume. Everything is going to, from the milligrams that are stated on a package, that is true in theory and accurate at point of production. But by the time you digest it, less of that product's bioavailable in your bloodstream.
Okay. All right.
Right,
That makes
you're
sense.
breaking it down.
Yeah.
And so I know metragenine very well. It's about a 30% conversion rate. So if you take one of our products, a kratom-based product, and it says, for us, we believe in standard serving sizes. So a serving size of any product we have, we think is 25 milligrams of metragenine. Why that matters is...
Which is not 7-OH.
It is not.
It's metragenine.
It's just metragenine. So 30% of that is now bioavailable inside the body. So we can say 7.5 milligrams on average, depending on height, weight, metabolic rate, disease history. Like, it's not perfect, but it's 30% a nice round number.
Yeah, you'd need a couple servings.
I might to have the same amount of bioavailability. Yeah. But you say that, and then that same metragenine, 30% bioavailable, but then 50% of the bioavailable converts to 7-hydroxy inside your body because you're breaking it down. That's where this gets so confusing for people. But I gotta zoom out one layer.
Yeah, let's zoom out.
When you consume what we'll call full spectrum kratom. Now, that's not really a term. It's a term in the CBD world.
Yeah, it'll be spectrum. You gotta be careful with that.
So we'll look at a complete alkaloid profile kratom, right? So it has all 52 alkaloids present.
Okay.
You have somewhere between 2 and 4 that might have, we know that 2 for certain have a partial mu-opioid agonistic relationship, meaning it has a slight bonding effect. You have another 6 that are antagonistic to the mu-opioid receptor. So that's that whole premise of, are you spraying the lock with WD-40 or not?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're consuming complete spectrum kratom, complete alkaloid spectrum kratom, you have 6 or more components that are actually the buffer that's making it so the trace amounts of 7-hydroxy don't bond to the mu-opioid receptor. They can't do it. What happens when you isolate just 7-hydroxy, all of those things are now gone. You only have the agonistic relationship to the mu-opioid receptor.
Okay. Now, like, I'm a 5th grader.
Yeah. Yep. No problem. So 5th grade basis.
He has to think about that.
Well, no, I want to make sure I'm making this relevant because it's been challenging. I'll start with the example of an apple.
Okay.
We get home from school. Our mom slices up an apple. It's on a plate in front of us. No peanut butter, any of that shit, just an apple. It's before the days of glycophosphate and all the bad shit that's in it. It's just a nice natural apple. And we eat the apple and we might swallow a seed or 2. Right? No big deal. Yeah. No, I'm from the age where my mom said, don't swallow the seeds because you're going to grow an apple tree in your stomach and all the dumb bullshit. But it was a joke. So you swallow the seeds, nothing happens. However, if somebody else took all the seeds out of a series of apples and then soaked them for a while in a specific product, those seeds turn into something very different. Those seeds turn into cyanide. And so you could take just the seeds that have been soaked and consume them, and you've now consumed cyanide. But when you have an apple, you don't think twice about if you eat a seed or 2. You're not worried about cyanide consumption. It doesn't register. That is the difference in full spectrum kratom versus 7-hydroxy. 7-hydroxy is the seed. Now, by itself, in very small quantities, 7-OH can be fine because you're having one seed. But when you're taking all the seeds and putting them together and giving people endless amounts of the seeds, you're now giving them, you're not, because it's not killing people, which is a whole nother conversation. you're not giving them the same product as Kratom. And that's where there's so much confusion in the market, because you see the news reports that pop up, people are dying, there's all these things happening. I got to tell you, from someone that's been a huge proponent of 7-OH, 7-hydroxy, I don't think you can overdose on it.
You don't think you can overdose on it?
I do not think you can overdose on 7-hydroxy.
On what basis?
So the counter argument, the other side of the aisle, if you would tell you that it has a ceiling effect. What that would basically state is, as you consume more and more of something, your body reaches a saturation point and you just excrete the rest of it. There's a lot of science that shows that's actually not true. There isn't a ceiling effect for 7-OH. There is a ceiling effect for Kratom. What happens on the 7-OH side, the reason why people OD, the mechanism of action why people OD, is end up experiencing respiratory suppression. They can't breathe.
Right.
Their heart rate slows down, their breathing slows down, and they essentially suffocate is what happens,
yes,
unfortunately. Those things aren't true in the same capacity with 7-OH. There's people, we could hop on Reddit right now and go to 7-OH or 7-metragenine, or there's Reddit forums, and you will see endless people saying they're taking 300, 400, 500 milligrams a day.
And they're fine.
And they're fine.
They're not fine, but they're not dying.
They're not dying. This is where I don't want to say I have it all figured out, because what I started this year was saying my whole crusade to get this stuff off of shelf came from our customer base reaching out to us saying, can you help us get off of this product? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Oh, wow.
What's this product? I mean, I know what it is, but why are you calling me? Why? We don't sell this. Well, we started our Kratom journey by consuming one of your products. We went to our local convenience store or gas station or smoke shop. They were out of your product. They told me that this was the next best Kratom product, and they gave me this. And now I can't stop taking it. What do you recommend that I do? And so I'm seeing this. I'm like, okay, is this a one-off? Is it? And so I personally start calling these people and interviewing them. I'm like, I got to understand more. And there's an individual from Indiana who tells me a story very comparable. His wife is an RN.
Yeah.
His wife says, you're addicted. We have to check you into outpatient rehab. You can't stop taking this. So he goes to outpatient rehab for 10 days to try to get clean. They put him on Suboxone. They recommend methadone because he can't stop consuming the product. At that point, this is March of this year. I'm like, okay, something has to change now.
What did he describe as, did you talk to his wife as well? Or?
I spoke to both of them.
Okay. What did they describe about his behaviors and what happens to him when he takes the product?
A euphoric, great feeling.
Now, how did she see it though? It's euphoric for him, but like, what did she think? Like, he's useless right now, or?
No, not quite. I mean, she said that he was more in like a Zen-like state. So he's not couch locked, right? He's not, drooling out of the side of his mouth. But what she would notice is it started with Kratom has a half-life of 22 to 24 hours. 7-OH has a half-life of 4 hours. So what started with him consuming one of our products a day, when he got introduced to 7-OH, he took his one product, he made it 6 or 8 hours, and he's like, the feeling's gonna need more. So he takes one in the morning, then one right before bed. The next day, and maybe 5 days later, but sometime in a very short period of time, he's like, I need a third serving, another handful of days. I can't make it through the night without waking up in cold sweats. So I have to have more when I go to bed and have to have some next to the nightstand. So now he's spending hundreds of dollars a day on this. His wife's seeing the bank account deplete. He's now being sketchy because he's needing this to now function to be at a baseline. I mean, he's a full-blown addict.
And he wasn't like that when he was on Kratom.
So they tell me he was not like that when he was consuming Kratom. Now, I don't know him personally. I only know the interview.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Kratom's a perfect product either. No problem sharing all that as well. I'm sharing this one story. There were 5 stories like this in a weeks-long period. And I'm like, okay, this is fucked. Because we knew it existed in 23, and we knew it was stronger than more potent than morphine. There's a difference between strong and potent.
And you guys were tempted to go to it because of...
We weren't.
You weren't ever, even at the beginning.
the first time I went to a trade show in our industry, the trade show for this really obscure counterculture world is something called
fucking trade show.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's nuts. It's in Vegas, of course, right? It's a place called Champs. And it's the counterculture world, right? It's everything you'd imagine in a smoke shop.
Yeah.
So whatever you can conjure up in your mind, that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop here. He gives some interesting perspectives that you don't expect from a big manufacturer industry person. And he's so well versed with the science. It's phenomenal. I mean, that was, but one thing that really struck me, I love that he talked to customers to dig in to find out what they were going through. But he said the guys in Indiana has been one of the banned states for years. My understanding is Schedule 1. So is this somebody who is illegally consuming kratom as said he bought it at a smoke shop. So that threw me off in Indiana. So either he has a state wrong or there's a customer buying it in smoke shops that's like, okay. I mean, we know
they aren't supposed to be selling it in.
Right.
I didn't catch that. That was a good catch.
Yeah, I caught it the first time I heard it, and even though I stepped away for a minute because I've been sitting here for almost 2 hours, I heard it again. I'm like, Indiana, it's like that's a banned state. It's been banned for a long time there. But
it was the first state to ban.
It was. Oh, interesting. Sure. But I love that he talked to the customer and the customer's wife to like find out about it. It's impressive. I think
exactly.
I definitely recommend watching this interview for those that want to see the whole thing. The name of the podcaster is Julian Dorey, Julian Dorey, Dorey. Came out 2 weeks ago. Let me see what the date is. It came out on January 23rd and is with Ryan Nidell. And I'm going to play a few more clips. That was the long one I wanted to play, but I just want to get y'all's thoughts. I mean, one interesting, him talking about the rat study and so many different things.
I wish he'd go back to more of the rat study. I feel like he kind of left it partially unfinished.
Yeah.
But still really cool.
It was really cool. Really cool. Yeah, let me play a couple more. That was the long one I wanted to play. And let me play another one. The other ones I have are shorter. It's just fascinating info. When I had watched the whole thing, I just kept like stopping and every time there was something really interesting, I'm like, oh, let me jot down this little segment to play on the show. Because it's a fascinating conversation, and he talks about so many different things.
And like you said, to have a vendor that went from being totally against it to seeing what's happening and changing his mind on it, and not being a vendor of that product, but still putting out what he knows about it to be true. I just think that's amazing.
That's the part that I appreciate.
Yeah.
Because at least even if he's not 470, I appreciate that he's at least given the information on it in an accurate way. I mean, for an example, we heard a lot about the respiratory depression with the 7.0, but what was left out is it was intravenously as an injectable, not just taking a tablet. Then you really can't, there is a ceiling effect on it, and everybody knows that I take it also. But he also touched on the difference between the high amounts and people who are taking the lower amounts, because even today, having taken it for 2 years now, and especially over the last year, the first year was just a little bit, I'm still at a tablet. I mean, and even if I was to go a little bit more, that's over a very long period of time. So I didn't jump into 120 milligram tablet or a 40 or 100, very low dose. And so I am like 3 to 4 milligrams in, my nibble that at one time was only like 1.5 or 2. It's a little bit more, but I still have a lot of leeway. You know what I mean? So even if I ended up taking more and there was some tolerance, it'd still only be, even if I was up to 2 tablets, then that would only be 24, because these are very low. These are 12 milligram tablets. I have never bought more than a 12 milligram tablet since I've been at this same place. I think originally one of the places that I was at before this one, they might have been, they were 20, I think, or I at least tried the 20. I know that, but you're not supposed to take the whole tablet. You're supposed to just take a quarter or a half of the tablet. So we're not even supposed to be consuming the whole thing at one time anyway. Even the 12 milligram tablets that I take says that one serving is half of that tablet. That's only 6 milligrams. And then of course,
important.
for me, it is important to know, because even for me, that half, I've already cut in half. Okay, so the tablet is cut in half one time. Each half is cut in half and then cut in half again. And I call that my nibbles. So there's 8, right now there's 8 nibbles in a tablet for me, you know, so very low dose. And that is the difference between, you know, somebody utilizing it for pain and then trying to get the euphoria off of it, or the high, or whatever, you know, the other side of it. That's not the case for me. And
I love that you coined the term nibble, because so many 7-0 people say that they say nibble now because you started that. And I love that he's acknowledging, like, there's people that use 7-0H responsibly and there's people that overuse it.
Right.
And that's coming from industry. And this is
and I don't believe that there needs to be these massive amount of tablets.
Agreed.
Because if somebody did go in and not know what they were doing and got 100 milligram tablet, if that would have been me, oh my God.
Well, we already know people do that. I mean, look at the abuse of Kratom extracts before 7-0H was on the market. All we heard about was Kratom extract addiction. And that's where everybody focused their attention on. We used to come here with the Kratom Gals, and all we saw were news stories about extracts. And now instead is stories about 7-0H. And it's the same thing. People that don't pay attention to the servings. And I remember one of the early interviews I did for my Kratom Stories podcast. It was this lady who had abused extracts, and she flat out said, I didn't read the bottle. Had I read the bottle, one time I finally looked at the bottle and it said it was like, I think 9 servings or something. She goes, I would just drink the whole thing. So like she acknowledged, like, yeah, I consumed the whole thing. I didn't pay attention. I didn't care. And I ended up having a problem.
Well, even before extracts made a big presence in the market, there's people we all know of that have overconsumed Kratom. I mean, we talk in taking half a gram, 2 grams, 3 grams. They're taking ounces at a time.
Yes, ma'am.
Literally. Yeah, I mean, everybody here is shaking their head because most of them know exactly who I'm talking about.
And I think that's the type of person or mindset. Well, maybe, you know, you're trying to reach something or chase something that you're not actually going to get from Kratom. And maybe it is trying to reach or chase for a high, because we know that we're not getting high off of Kratom. It doesn't, I mean, Kratom has never given me any euphoria whatsoever. And I've taken as much as 16 to 20 a day. And so, you know, I just don't get that. But I think that's where they are getting. Otherwise, why would you consume that much plant matter of anything and keep?
Well, and another word that we used to always try and refrain from using was euphoria. And part of it is because so often in our society, euphoria is looked at as a high.
Thing. It is.
As a bad thing. When euphoria in its true sense of the word is simply a feeling of well-being.
Yes. And I said that many times.
But I can remember for years telling people, don't say euphoria. Don't say euphoria.
Yeah. And I actually try not to, but I've said it several times on here before. Even if somebody did get that off of it, who cares? Why are we in other people's business and want to like stomp on their feeling or the cup of coffee feeling? Because if I get it at all, it's like I had a cup of coffee and I'm just happy about my cup of coffee, you know. So there's no and so what do we, you know, we have to be ashamed to call anything anymore, because or changing our words because of
Yeah.
what, somebody's going to call us names or something.
Right. Part of the reason I brought that up is because we have now, lived and learned. It's not that we shouldn't say euphoria. It's we need to educate people as to what that truly means. Euphoria is not a bad thing. It's a sense of well-being.
It means different things to different people.
And they
Yeah.
demonized the word and made it a dirty word is what
Right.
they did when it just leaving it alone for what it was. Instead, they had to change that up and make it something that if
when you hear
felt it,
you think of somebody getting high and somebody consuming something like and it got associated a lot with psychedelics too a long time ago. Like euphoria was like somebody tripping on acid or something.
Right. And it's actually a sense of well-being, a general feeling of good. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's again goes back to education.
Exactly. Yeah. The comments are on fire today. Thank you all that are here live. And if you're watching the replay, kudos to you because we've been here for an hour and 55 minutes. And I know a lot of people will catch the replay as well. I'm going to play another clip from Ryan. Like I said, I keep learning a lot from him. He is really bright guy.
Very intelligent.
Very, very. I need to
very well spoken.
And he acknowledges what he doesn't know.
When I had him on the Kratom Gals last year, I had him on because it was right after the big controversy where they were at the Champ show, and it turned out there was like this whole people protesting 708 with signs and everything, and somebody uncovered that there was a Craig's ad hiring people to go do this, and it turned out he was behind it, and he came clean. I mean, he acknowledged. He made this long video talking about it. We watched the video here. We had him come on and talk about it, and he's a really upfront, stand-up kind of guy, and a lot of people are not like that. Like, he'll tell it like it is. I mean, a lot of us didn't like what he had done, but the other side has done that too. What was it? Was it Rhode Island, Venus? What was that one that we watched, that crazy video with the protesters? And
I think it might have been Rhode Island.
It was.
Yeah.
And it was at an AKA event or something. They were at some, they were standing outside and harassing people.
I think it's their intentions too. Those people from the other one, they didn't know anything about it. I think this one was a little bit different, what he did. So, but I'm not positive.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna play another clip of his. I have like just 2 more clips, and then we can wrap up because we've been here for just about 2 hours now, but we can wrap up and be done with this interview.
I'm gonna say above reproach, but our facility is as clean and nice. I mean,
nothing to hide.
We have 24/7, 365 video feeds you could pull up right now, and you could show everybody else producing all the time. We don't hide fucking anything.
Wait, can we pull that up? That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't have the website committed to memory. It's going to be diversifybotanics.com/maybe transparency. Maybe is what
that's kind of cool that you have that.
Oh, I don't want to hide from anything.
So if like Cindy in the back corner is like sprinkling a little nicotine and something, I can catch her. And
you're going to see it.
Snitch.
Yep.
I wouldn't snitch, Cindy.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Right. So those are real. Those are live right now.
Wait, this is live in your facility. What you using, a vacuum cleaner and cook some kratom right there?
Yeah, no. So that room that you're seeing right there, that's our powder production room. And so
I hope ICE isn't watching this.
Yeah, it's all right. They're all I-9 validated. They are. We take great pride in this stuff. But you see, I would think that the supplement industry needs this. And so
yes, this is. I've never seen this before. This is awesome.
Nobody does this. And so
Can we get some close-up shots too?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like, can we work that in? You gotta get some FX3s like right on there while they're like packaging it.
We have that coming. We're updating the cameras.
Good. I'm gonna hold you to it.
100%.
Okay.
So what started out with last year, without any of the 708 stuff, I said, hold on. Well, I mean, fuck. Where did those all started from? Is we got served a wrongful death lawsuit in 2020.
I'm gonna stop here because I wanted y'all to see that part, because then he goes like, there's so many stories he tells in here, and that one's like a whole long thing he gets into. Those cameras are so cool. So when that whole thing with him getting busted with the Craigslist ad thing and all that. So he makes this long video. So on his website, when he was talking about where the cameras are, he has a couple of things there, and it is at Diversified Botanics /transparency. And when you go there, that's where you can see the live webcams, and they have all their COAs, certificate of analysis. Oh, you know what? It used to be linked here. So he had this long video, and it was there. Maybe I don't know where it's at now. Anyway, he had this long video, just coming clean from everything, but also telling stories about. I mean, he just tells this whole long thing. I'll have to see if I can find the link. But we watched it here on the Kratom Gals a while back, and he talked about the cameras and stuff, and I saw that on there, and I'm like, they got a live feed of their webcams in their facility. So for like a week, I kept watching it a bunch because I wanted to see them in production doing this. And I did. There were times I watched them doing they do Golden Monk is the brand for the Kratom powder. And I watched them package it in their clean room, and it was wild. And you can easily do it on their cameras. You just have to just keep checking it to see when there's actual production going on. I mean, even though the cameras are 24/7, I found that if I went during the week, and they're in Utah, I think. So with the time zone difference, I would go check usually a weekday in the late morning to early afternoon, and I would usually catch something on a weekday, and it's pretty cool. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Let me bring up this last. Any other thoughts before we go into the last clip? Y'all are quiet all of a sudden. Okay. Y'all are probably just tired of being on here. We've been here a while.
I have to keep my microphone off too. It's so windy here. You can hear everything.
I don't hear anything. All right, let me play this last part. It's hard to cue it up because it's so long. It's a few seconds before the part, but it'll just whatever it is.
How are they looking at it? Is that some public marketing that they're saying it that way, and maybe they feel a little more nuanced on it, or do they actually feel that strongly about it?
So I didn't know these things prior to this whole year. When I started bringing to the attention of everyone I brought it to attention to, they said we need to do what's called an 8-factor analysis. There are 8 factors that are required by the FDA to deem if something's harmful or not. We hear you, Ryan. We understand the science you're showing us, but we need to do our own analyzation to it. And so they start in, I'll make it up, March or April, doing this. And the 8-factor takes time. At the end of the 8-factor, they say unequivocally, this should be a Schedule 1. It checks all the boxes for what should be a Schedule 1 narcotic. And so that's the press conference from July 29th. You pull it up on YouTube. It's there. They say very clearly, fourth wave of the opioid crisis needs to be a Schedule 1. It's our recommendation. Yes, 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 yes.
That's the public. Yeah.
That's the public. They meant that all the way up to that point. And I think they still mean that. Then it goes to the DEA. The DEA now has to also do their own 8-factor analysis to prove that the FDA wasn't full of shit. And then the DEA is the only one that can actually, other than the president, invoke a scheduling of a product. And so I know from ongoing conversations with HHS and FDA, they're still saying this is horrible, and pseudoindoxinol is horrible, and MGM is horrible, and everything you're sharing, yes, 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 we see it, we're still on the same page. As so much so, they're asking the DEA, can you get off your ass and do something? The challenge is, of course, during that time period, the government shut down. We have a current administration who has wanted to, I think, have some level of a surplus, hypothetically. So they started pulling back on any level of additional support. So the FDA is at an all-time low from a staffing standpoint. The DEA is at an all-time low from a staffing standpoint.
DEA too. Wow.
Mm-hmm. But you also have to look at, this is, again, things I didn't know. The FDA, I'm going to make up the numbers. Who knows what the fuck it is? Let's say they have 20,000 employees. That's for everything that food and drug in the entire U.S.
It's not enough.
And so you look at the little tiny department that supplements, let's call it 20 people. So these 20 people, I don't care if it's 200 people. They have to go and inspect every facility,
pull
labels, do testing. There's not enough manpower to do it.
Oh my God.
And so the fact that they even did an 8-factor, and they really did it, and they're really like, yes, thank you. You're exactly right. Awesome. Thank you. Press conference, yes. Hand it over to the DEA. And DEA is like, well, hold on. We're worried about the Sinaloan cartel and blowing them up as they're trying to bring in fentanyl into the country. Worried about the CCP and their connection. We're worried about all this stuff. And you want us to fuck with Kratom, 7-OH.
I see what you're saying.
And so I say, hold on a second. From the first time I went to DC, not the first time, but this year, I'm with my lobbyist off of Capitol Hill. He's got some people around him and says, one of the people says, I think you're being followed. What are you talking about? Nobody's following me. I'm literally a nobody. No, I think you're being followed. And I'm like, okay, maybe this is some sort of hustle. They're going to shake me down for some money for protect. Like I'm instantly getting into the way the world could work. I see, that's fine. Whatever. Another day passes. We have another meeting off Hill. Like, no, we're pretty positive being followed. I said, of course. You go to Capitol Hill, you got to have the background check.
Yeah, you get followed.
Right? I mean, sure. So I go back home, all the pieces and parts, and the lobbyist team calls me and says, "No, we know you're being followed, and we kind of have a sense of who it is. We were taking some pictures, running through some intelligence, and it's the Sinaloan cartel
following you."
I say, bullshit. Like, where's the ask for you to then offer me protection? They said, we don't offer protection services. I said, hold on. You mean to tell me the cartel's involved in this somehow? They said, I don't know. They're just the ones that we think we're following. We have pretty good reason to believe they're following you. All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like I should hunker down in a bunker and never come out, and 1 being I should just walk around with a target on my back, where do you rate this risk? So I don't know, maybe 4.5, 5. I'm like, thanks, right down the middle. I'm like, well, what the fuck am I going to do? So just continue.
You look like you could take them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, might be all right.
And so one thing leads to another, and I'm out and about in the world, and I see an individual, walking around, doesn't really fit the environment I'm in. Latin American individual, and in a place where Latin Americans wouldn't normally be.
How dare you?
I know. I'm sorry. Just the nature of some places, they're just not a large Latin American population. This individual has a face tattoo, a shaved head. Like, doesn't, like, which one of these doesn't belong? He didn't belong. And he eventually walks up and he literally sits at a table adjacent to me and starts taking pictures and video and laughing. I'm like, okay, this is really weird. Maybe I have food on my, like, whatever. So I shake it off. This is 3 weeks afterwards. Fast forward another week or two, so I'm back and forth to DC a couple times a month. And I have a trip planned to go to DC on a Monday. And I'm at a shopping center. Don't know what I'm buying. Don't really remember the details. But an individual walks past, like right before a store closed, walks past me, goes and looks at some things, comes back and walks in front of me and says, have fun in DC tomorrow. I don't think you should go. Now, no one knows I'm going to DC, right? This isn't like public. I'm not posting some magic place. Like, I've got an itinerary that I booked an hour before. Like, there's nothing. Like, oh, okay. And this is the same time that Rocco joins us. And so I'm like, this is really uncomfortable now. This is really uncomfortable. And so I bring it up to my lobbyist, the guy that is helping us with this stuff. And he said, look, I've had, from lobbying for 20 years, I've had some things go on in my life. He goes, I'll introduce you to somebody that can at least do a deeper sense of background. If you needed some protection, they could do that. And so they do what they do and they share what they share, which then eventually has me saying to Rocco, hey, but I know this is really weird. Like, I don't know who to tell this to because everybody thinks I'm fucking crazy. But I've had 2 or 3 interactions with somebody that doesn't really fit. Like, it wouldn't be anywhere normal. People somehow know I'm going places that there's no record of me going. So it feels like our systems have been hacked. Do you know anything about that? Do you have anybody? He goes, oh yeah, I used to do that. I'm like, wait, what? And it's like Pandora's box opens, his eyes light up.
Yeah, brother, I got you.
100%. That's exactly 100%. What it was. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he, shares what he shares. And that then introduces me to a whole new way of being where, have up armored vehicles and have security team. And
yeah, you got some, are you allowed to talk about that?
I'm going to go ahead and stop here. I mean, from what I understand, and this is really far into the interview because this is like, it's a 2-hour and 49-minute interview. And this is like, we're well 2 hours into the interview. apparently he was going to DC a bunch with the lobbyists. And when you talked about Rocco, that was the guy that's been making the documentaries. We're going to watch his part 2 today, but we didn't have time. But he's the one that's been trying to really put a spotlight on the negativity with 7-OH and stuff. And so the speculation is, based on his stories, is that the cartel is somehow involved, possibly with the whole 7-OH. I don't know. But it's interesting stuff.
Well, if
And
it's
it
not
makes sense.
regulated, it's going to go black market, and then they would be involved.
Well, but if they don't want him going to DC, and he's going to DC, he's been
weird,
going to DC
yeah.
to try to get it banned, then it seems like, well, they wouldn't want that. Then they must already be involved with it currently, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's an interesting,
Speculation.
it's interesting, but that part is like, I just stopped at the 2 hour and 15 minute ish mark. It's a fascinating interview. So I definitely recommend this Julian Dory interview. Ryan Nidell did it. It's over on YouTube. Very, very interesting. Very long, but just Ryan's a good storyteller. I mean, that's how I ended up watching the whole thing when it
He
came out.
really is. He keeps your attention.
He tells
Very
so
good.
many different stories. It was really fascinating. And he even tells, there was a part, I mean, I didn't have time to play everything. There was a part that was interesting where he talks about the whole salmonella thing with Kratom years ago, and how that's still, there's still so much blame with Kratom today from that a long time ago. As a matter of fact, I didn't have time to I was going to make this really cool video. I'm still going to work on it. But there was this video that came out really just ragging on the whole salmonella thing, which was from so long ago. And it's not relevant today. And the industry has changed a lot since then. And they talk about it as if it's still a current problem with Kratom and all and it's not being tested and blah, blah, blah. And they show all this old Kratom because let me see if I can find it. Once I make a video to really dispute it, it'll make more sense. But it's just the fact that they made this video, and the name of this YouTube channel is so funny. International Outbreak Museum. So apparently they just have archives of all these products where there was some kind of outbreak, I guess. And so it was a video talking about the whole salmonella thing, Kratom and salmonella. But they really made it sound like it's still a present issue.
Right. They always do.
Right.
Well, and they're still talking, and I think this is something that bears conversation, but it needs to be separated from Kratom. And that's the research chemicals, the tianeptine, the stuff that's been around forever and needs to be gone. And part of the challenge with that is some of those products could very well have been in some of these poorer quality Kratoms that people were taking. And that is what contributed to deaths, because they don't test for it. How do you test for a product that today is this molecule and tomorrow is a half a difference away from that molecule?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think part of it is it gets frustrating fighting the same fight when our information has grown and enhanced and gathered more positive, and theirs continues to be the same ridiculous negatives that it's always been.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We know Kratom does not cause deaths.
That's right.
Jane Babin spent months working on the reports to dispute the original FDA deaths. We know it doesn't. And the cases of salmonella poisoning nowadays are unheard of because our vendors have gotten better, our farmers have gotten better, and consumers have gotten smarter.
Exactly. And we also know that there've been no deaths with 7-OH. And it was refreshing that Ryan acknowledges that in that video. Really, I had to make sure y'all saw that clip, because there's so many great nuggets of information. It's just such a long interview that I don't think people are going to watch the whole thing. But I was not expecting him to say that, to actually acknowledge that yes, there are people in the pain community that benefit from 7-OH, and that 7-OH does not kill people.
And it definitely needs to be said.
It does. And to fully
agreed.
explain the whole rat study. I mean, the way he explained it is like, okay, that's at least that makes a little more sense, talking about the whole IV thing, but fully explaining it. And so that people understand it's not the same thing as a study with humans ingesting powder. So I definitely recommend people go check it out. I'll have the link to that interview in the YouTube. I know we got people watching here on X. Just come to my YouTube channel at Kratom Real Talk. And for those of y'all here on YouTube, a little later, check back to this video and I'll put it in the description. I always put links to everything we watch in the description. So that's what I have for y'all today. Long show, 2 hours and 15 minutes.
And thank you all for staying.
Thank you, everyone.
All. We appreciate you.
Yeah, it's great to see you. Robin, thank you for being our special guest today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. And again, I want to thank all of you that have continued to be the banner carriers in this fight, because I don't think you get enough recognition. And I know that none of us do it for that, but it still feels good when you get it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you all for watching. So many of y'all have been here from the start in the comments and chatting with us the whole time. Angela says she got salmonella 2 years ago from bad stuff. Wow.
From someone that tested it before it was shipped.
Yeah, it's got to be tested after it's shipped as well.
Yeah.
So,
because if the shipping conditions are not correct.
Right, exactly. That's why it's important to purchase from reputable vendors that do everything right. It needs to be tested once it comes over, because most times it's coming by ship and it can be at sea for 2 or 3 months.
Right.
And even if it's coming by air, which is significantly less, still, I mean, things can happen when it's, you know.
And those testing procedures need to match.
Yes.
To make sure that what they're actually receiving is what they tested over there.
Exactly. And we want to know that that's what we're getting. So exactly. Well, this has been so great. Thank y'all so much. And Robin, we definitely want you or one of your gals at BAE to join us each week at minimum for like half an hour or so, just to keep us filled in, because we're in such a trying time with all these ban bills and hearings. So we always want to stay up to date. So I'll talk to you about that separately. But yeah, we definitely need somebody regularly keeping us updated.
It would be a privilege. Thank you.
Yeah, we would
Much
love
appreciated.
that. But good to see you. Good to see you all. I'm going to close out with living the Kratom life, because that's what we're all doing here, and it serves us well. So it's a perfect song to close out, and we'll see y'all again next Saturday. And then for those that are in our Kratom Real Talk community at school, come join us tomorrow. We have our Sunday chat. We do it every Thursday and Sunday. It's just a hangout, come as you are chat that Venus is really doing a good job of running. I kind of like that. It's like, I like that you just,
I enjoy it.
Yeah. So y'all come hang out with us over there. Join us at kratomrealtalk.com. And until then, y'all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Becca's going to jam for us now.
Woke up today feeling light. Grab my blend, ready for flight. Dreaming that it's my start. Red barley to calm my heart. From dawn to dusk, I'm feeling free. With every leaf from the kratom tree, I take my dose, I feel alive. Yeah, I'm living the kratom life. Oh, I'm living the kratom life so wild. Every day I'm feeling revived. Capsules packed with nature's glow. Herbal realm, you already know. White vein when I need the power that makes me thrive. Mix it up, I found my way. Living the Kratom life every day. From dawn to dusk, I'm feeling free. With every leaf from the Kratom tree, I take my dose, I feel alive. Yeah, I'm living the Kratom life. Oh, I'm living the Kratom life. So wild, every day I'm feeling revived. Capsules packed with nature's glow. Herbal realm, you already know. You already know. When the day is long, I feel the strain. I know that Kratom eases the pain. So I take my blend and I rise. With herbal realm, I touch the skies. Oh, I'm living the Kratom life. So wild, every day I'm feeling revived. Capsules packed with nature's glow. Herbal realm, you already know. Yeah, I'm living the Kratom life. Ooh, 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 ooh. When the day is long, I feel the strain.